It's like, I don't know if that dude's all right. How did you, these are questions for me, so I'm just going to fan out a little bit. How did you, because I mean, I know you got a long history of doing voice work, but how did you fall into the role of Master Cheif in Halo?
Well, like most good things that come to me, a lot of luck. I do a lot of commercial voice work up until Halo, and I had actually done work on a game that I recommend none of you make any attempt to buy, purchase, see, play, or in any way exposed to.
What is this?
It's called Septerra Core. It's on PC. Oh yeah, it was a hot one. It was a smolder. And I had a small role in that, a guy by the name of Gunner. And the person who cast me was Marty O'Donnell, who ended up, of course, going with Bungie, and he's the one who writes and performs most of the music in the Halo series. So he, about a year later, decided, called me and asked me about, voicing the character Master Cheif. So that was really Halo Combat Evolved was the first or the second video game I'd ever done, and coming into it at the time, I had no picture of what Master Cheif looked like. The game obviously had not been released yet, so it was strictly going on. Here's the character, here's what he does, here's what the game is. The only real direction he gave me was to think Clint Eastwood, fistful of dollars, man of few words, that kind of thing. And we took it from there. We did a couple of sessions, and as you know, when you do video games, when you do commercial voiceover, the way you know that whatever it is that you voiced was a success is directly correlated with what checks you may receive in your mailbox later on. That's not the case with video games. It's sort of a one-shot deal, and so I recorded the sessions, and that was pretty much the end of it, and I forgot about it. And it was about a year later, I was actually down here in Florida, visiting some friends, and I come walking through the living room one day, and the kids are playing Halo. And I said, and understand now, I also do a radio show in Chicago, and so my friend is introducing me to his kids. Yeah, Steve does a big radio show in Chicago. They were totally unimpressed. Who care less? He voices commercials that run all over the world. Totally unimpressed. I walk through, I see the Halo game playing, and I said, I think I voiced a character on that game. And what? And honestly, I couldn't remember the name of the character. I said, but I think he's one of the main guys. Really? Yeah, I said, I can't. Master Cheif? Yeah, that's it. Well, about 15 minutes later, we had a line around the block of this guy's house of fans from the neighborhood who would come by to meet me and get autographs. So at that point, I knew, well, maybe we have something. Maybe there's something going on here I ought to investigate. And from that point on, of course, the rest is, as they say, history. But that was the rather unimpressive beginning for me, but it's been quite a ride ever since.
And where did you record it? Did you do it in Chicago?
In Chicago. Bungie originally was based in Chicago. When Microsoft got an idea of what was going on, they quickly bought the company and moved it all out to their headquarters in Washington. But a lot of the voice casting, especially for the first game, was a lot of Chicago voice actors. It's expanded beyond that, in Halo 2 and 3. But yeah, we did all the sessions in Chicago, and I've done all 3 games in Chicago, actually.
And what do you think? Because obviously the game has progressed so much from where it started, and this happens a lot, where it's going to be a big AAA title, but nobody can expect the game to do as well as it did. What do you think as far as how the game is? Because the ODST just came out. I know. Well, I mean, it's not just a video game. It's a cult phenomenon. You've had so many spin-offs with Red vs. Blue, and it's one of the most cosplayed, as far as video game characters, one of the most cosplayed characters ever. What do you think of the storyline, your character, and how the game has changed since the first one?
Well, I think the storyline, obviously, they had a good story with the beginning of the game, and personally, I like to think that it's not just the shooter aspect that made Halo popular. I think it's a lot of things. It's all of the things. But one of the things I think is that they had a fairly developed storyline. And that made it interesting for me. It makes it interesting for the actor when there's actually a story going on and you're not just going, gotcha. When it goes a little bit beyond that. And that's, I mean, I became